Alright, we're playing RUG Belcher against Nady Fresh here. We're on the draw, and we've got Simian Spirit Guide. So we could play Land Grants, Simian Spirit Guide, Rite of Flame, Wheel of Fortune. I think we keep this. I think I've read about on how to kind of play this deck a little bit. You just kind of have to be really aggressive and just go for it. I did see this Nady Fresh kind of peeking into a couple games earlier, so I'm guessing that they probably know that I'm playing Belcher. But that should probably be pretty obvious once I start playing this like Rite of Flame and Wheel of Fortune and Land Grant. So we'll see if this Land Grant gets countered. I mean, it's going to give them perfect information. But like I said, like I read, I think you just have to be aggressive. You just have to go for wins with this deck and just kind of make them have it. It's a glass cannon, so you just kind of play it understanding that it can be disrupted. So there's a Force of Will. So Storm Entity for each other spell cast turn. So we got 1, 2. I could Noxious Revival. It says opponent just said I'm not beating Belcher. So let's see. I think I can actually just go for a Storm Entity here that's pretty big and just hope that they can't deal with it. Or do I hold out for getting this wheel going? I think that depends on me drawing another one. So I think we just go for it again next turn. Actually, I think we can go for it. Yeah, go for it next turn when we draw this Land Grant. So I cast that Noxious Revival right there. It does give them a little more information, but it does reduce the chance that they're going to have a Mental Misstep or a Force of Will from their draw. So we'll go ahead and try this again. So they've got another Force of Will. So now they have enough lack of resources that I feel a little bit better about going Rite of Flame into Storm Entity. So we'll see if they have the misstep. If they do, it's going to be kind of heartbreaking. But they did get rid of a mental misstep. I should have looked before I did that. So 4/4 hasty. And we'll just kind of try to beat in. They're pretty low on resources, just down to 2 cards. Already did themselves some damage. They've got this Flooded Strand, so we'll just see if this Storm Entity clock is good enough. Fortunately, a Storm Entity's big enough to beat a Mishra's Factory, even one that's kind of pumped up. Well, actually with 2 of them out, so let me see. So they look for a land. They activate a Mishra's Factory. It's a 2/2. They block with it. It's +1/+1. No, see, that actually seems pretty bad now. I think we have to go. We have to attack with it, but we're going to lose it. So So we'll see if they want to. I mean, basically just turns a storm entity into a strip mine. If they choose to block with it, it looks like they might just be light enough on. So they've actually got more than enough. So now actually they're going to be able to trade without losing their. They're not going to have to trade. Basically, they're just going to kill my storm entity. So Nature's Claim would have been great here to cast the Crucible World, but they're going to be able to just start casting this land over and over again. And we're a pretty far away from far ways away from doing any of these other cool things in our hand. I guess the best thing we could hope for is to draw a Black Lotus and Wheel of Fortune. That does kind of just set them up pretty well to be able to counter anything we could do afterwards. So hopefully a Storm Entity is good enough. They're only going to be able to fetch so many times at 5 life. But we can't attack into them anymore just because of these 3 Mistress Factories. Unless we draw a green source, in which case we could Nature's Claim. So that's another viable strategy. So they're going to brainstorm here. Probably fetch away the worst cards if there are bad cards. If they don't fetch here, then that just means they have a bunch of good cards coming. That's kind of even worse for us. Alright, so really hoping for a green source here. Or a red source, Rite of Flame into... so that doesn't do it. And again, I'm not even sure that I want to Wheel of Fortune right now. The only way I want to Wheel of Fortune is if I'm pretty sure that I could resolve Empty the Warrens. And the fact that I have to discard 2 of them means that's probably not going to happen. But when you're playing a blue deck like this that probably has a bunch of force, I mean, there's 2 Force of Wills gone. We saw a Mental Misstep exiled, but they probably still have some counters in there that we have to worry about. It's really good to just go for the Empty the Warrens, it seems like, because even if it gets countered, you know, you still get all the storm triggers. So hopefully they kind of let the Mox and all those things pass, build up that storm count. Alright, so Concentrated Sphinx seems bad for us. Alright, so Seething Song's not good. I think what we needed there was like a Mox Ruby that we could cast Rite of Flame and just try to wheel, I guess. But so things are looking pretty dire now. I think we can get rid of and Empty the Warrens. So yeah, things are looking dire now. Now they got top. Fortunately, the top plus Flooded Strand synergy is limited a little bit by their life total. But they're going to be able to stay on defense with this Consecrated Sphinx and these Mistress Factories. They're going to draw a bunch of cards. Alright, so Black Lotus. So what can we do? We can Black Lotus. If they try to block with a Mishra's Factory, we can Nature's Claim it. That seems better than going for Wheel. Or we can go for Empty the Warrens. Go Black Lotus for 3 mana, Rite of Flame for 5 mana, Seething Song. Any one of those being countered though is pretty bad. So it's sort of like, do they have, if they have the counter anyway, then the Nature's, I think I just go for the win here with the Nature's Claim. It does kind of play into their standstill, but I can just kind of make them have it. If they counter this, then it's kind of a moot point. Yeah, if we had 2 Semi-Spirit Guides, that'd be great. But so I'm just gonna go ahead and say a good game there. I just don't see myself crawling out of that board state. So for better or for worse, I've been kind of siding out of these draw 7s for Pyroblasts in these matchups. I think that's probably right. I could be wrong. Maybe you just need to be explosive as possible and just kind of hope that when they redraw 7, they don't get anything to stop you. Kind of seems unlikely though, especially on the after sideboarding. So I needed like one more initial storm trigger for that storm entity. And I think that we might have been able to get there. Just the fact that we couldn't attack into their Mishra's Factories without just losing our guy and not even trading. I think it made a pretty big difference. Maybe not. So let's see here. We've got Land Grant, Lotus Petal, Rite of Flame. It's only 3 mana. Could Time Walk.
With its deep amber color, caramel notes, and signature hop character. What better to have in your pint glass?
I mean, I could Land Grant here and then Noxious Survival the Land Grant and have 4 mana next turn to try to Goblin Charbelcher, but then I'm still only 2 lands with the Charbelcher. Don't think... I mean, I don't think this is good enough to win, but I don't know if it's bad enough to mulligan. I kind of feel like those are contradictory statements, but maybe I didn't really need to bring Lightning Bolt in or keep Lightning Bolt in. Well, I'm going to go ahead and mulligan and just see if we can get something better. So we've got the Rite of Flame, got a Semi-Spirit Guide, have a Pyroblast. I mean, we could... I think with that Mana Vault on top, we keep, but it's kind of slow. And they kept 7. So I guess we kind of have to hope that we can resolve one of our red spells next turn, or red mana producing spells or abilities, and then have Pyroblast up. So I wasn't really thinking, but to play this Mana Vault, I have to use my Simian Spirit Guide, but then I cannot play my Rite of Flame. So I actually have to go Simian Spirit Guide for Rite of Flame, get the 2 red, use 1 on the Mana Vault, and then I'll have 3 mana to play Seething Song. That'll give me 5. So if they don't Mental Misstep the Mana Vault, so we'll see if they go for this Rite of Flame. I'm just going to go for it. Alright, so now we have Pyroblast mana up. But we actually won't when we go for Seething Song. So kind of at a crossroads here. I think if we went just for Storm Entity, then we're not going to have Pyroblast up anyway. So I think we go for the Seething Song. And if this resolves, we'll have 6 mana. Yep, so can't do that. If that resolved and we had 6 mana, we could have played RUG Belcher. If that got countered, then we went for a big Storm Entity. But, nope, so we got Spell Pierced, kind of stopped in our tracks. So we'll see if we draw something that lets us kind of rebuild. My guess is that they're probably loaded up with counter magic. And we're kind of fighting a losing battle here. Maybe I was a little bit aggressive. Maybe I should have held out for an opportunity where this Pyroblast could have been more useful. Because I kind of went into that line without really the opportunity to play Pyroblast. Just because I always had to use the 1 red mana to cast the red spell that I'm really trying to resolve. So it's kind of a line of like being aggressive and maybe just not losing. So there's Welder. So a standstill out, there's going to be quite a few turns that are just draw go. We're going to lose some life to that Mana Vault, but we are going to get a bunch of cards back. But they're going to draw a bunch of cards, and then they will draw with standstill if we ever try to go off. So we're still not in like a great spot. So I'm just going to F6 here. And I'll just F6 again. I think they know the matchup probably well enough to know that we're not going to force a will them. Maybe though. I mean, we are running blue. Alright, so Mox Jet. It's a mana source, but it doesn't let us cast any of these things. So there's another Rite of Flame. If we draw a red source, at least we'll be able to, if we wanted to try to go off, we could do something. So this is Fairy Conclave. So they got a man land now. So they'll be able to sit behind that standstill, start swinging in. And like I said, they're drawing cards, kind of probably building up a bunch of counter spells and answers. I think I can get rid of this Goblin Welder. Actually, maybe the Time Walk. So I'm guessing the Fairy Conclave comes in. Yeah, and once I get the 7 cards, I will use that Library of Alexandria to loot and just build up an even better hand. So yeah, I just don't really see us winning this one. Another Pyroblast. I mean, Goblin Welder is kind of nice if you could resolve it. You know, even if the RUG Belcher gets countered, then you can get it back. But I think we're just don't have a fast. They have too fast of a clock. So I think I'm gonna get rid of the Storm Entity, so I can hold on to that Lightning Bolt. Alright, so we got 2 Mox. Neither one the right color. I think I'll play out one of the Mox right now. It does trigger their standstill, but they're going to have to discard some cards next turn unless they can play a bunch. Which they totally might be able to. I guess I might as well run out the Mox Jet at the same time, just in case they have another Landstill. I guess it really doesn't matter because anything I play is going to trigger the Landstill. Or the Standstill. So probably a Snapcaster Mage, Disenchant. No. I don't think we're going to get that untapped anytime soon. So if we had a red source, at least we could try to Lightning Bolt that Fairy Conclave. So we're just kind of dying a slow death here. Yeah, so they're just going to look at the top card. Probably leave it on top. Because there aren't that many things that we could draw that are going to win us the game. So they left 5 mana up that turn. Makes me think that maybe they have a Force of Will that they're willing to hardcast instead of attacking in with that Fairy Conclave. Yeah, so let's see. Getting Fate Sealed again. So put a card on bottom. Gonna play top, use top. I'm surprised I didn't use Library of Alexandria there. They could always draw a card using Sensei's Dividing Top. So Simian Spirit Guide. I mean, what do we go for here? And we've got Simian Spirit Guide to Rite of Flame and to like empty the Warrens. Maybe that's like our only move. So probably get countered. Well, so there's 3. I mean, I could just... I could spend some mana casting Pyroblast. And so we've got 5 mana. I can cast 1 more spell. And still cast Empty the Warrens. Could leave the Pyroblast up to counter. I think because we're on the Storm Kill, I'd actually rather just like play out like a Lightning Bolt. Maybe Goblin Welder. I think we'll go Goblin Welder because that'll get us our Mana Vault back. Now if they choose to counter this, it just builds our Storm count for the Empty the Warrens. We'll still have to draw a red source to try to bolt that Fairy Conclave, so I mean things aren't looking very promising still. I mean, like they might have like Supreme Verdict as well. So I think they could have drawn a card last turn. Yeah, so there's the Supreme Verdict. So those are going to be good games. I guess I'll see what I draw next, but I just don't foresee winning from here. So I'm guessing they're going to fetch up a blue source to get that Fairy Conclave going. Yeah, so unless I could kill them with Goblin Charbelcher next turn, I'm not winning. So I think I'll just go ahead and call those good games. I don't see a way out. All right, go ahead and concede. Good games.